Hey everybody, it's Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser, where I go on a weekend cruise just about every weekend. And as many of you know, I live in Miami specifically so that I can go on more cruises. I'm directly across the street from Port Miami. But every now and again I go, gee gosh, there's a new cruise ship up in Canaveral, or there's an interesting cruise in Canaveral. Let me go up to Port Canaveral, which is not close to my house. And now I'm faced with the challenge of, how do I get myself to Port Canaveral? I don't have a car to save money so that I can go on more cruises. And so I've got to find a transportation option to get me up there. And that's how I discovered RedCoach. Now, let me tell you why I went with the RedCoach bus line. The first thing that really drew me to them, the price. So I can go on a RedCoach bus, and they've got multiple different options that we'll talk about later, from a premium economy, a business class, as well as a first class bus that are all going to be priced a little bit different. But at the end of the day, it's $20 to $45 max for their first class bus. The price and the savings that I get from choosing this option versus some of the other ones is fantastic. Now I know what you're thinking, Brandon, I could never take a bus somewhere. Like, that's for poor people, that's for impoverished people, people that don't have another option to get anywhere. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video, honestly, is to dispel some of the myths about bus ridership these days. It's not your grandfather's bus. It is a whole different bus world out there, and RedCoach is helping change the way people get around. So I've been on, about 5 or 6 different trips with RedCoach at this point, from Miami to Orlando, or Orlando back down to Miami to get home. On one of those trips, I was, working on my laptop, playing with YouTube, and I went, gosh, this is a really good experience. I don't think people are considering this as an option to go from Miami to Orlando for cruises. And it is such a money saver compared to the other options. I said, you know what? Let me email the social media team. So just on a whim, sent them a direct message and said, hey, I'm on your bus and having a really good time. I'm enjoying myself. I'd love to tell you all about it. And they said, you know what? That's a great idea. So we are partnering together. This is a sponsored video to tell you about RedCoach and why it's my go-to solution for getting on cruises in Orlando, or if you're coming down to Miami or Fort Lauderdale, I think it is a solid option you need to consider. Now, the first thing I want to do, because again, I've talked to people about taking the RedCoach. I'm quite proud of the fact that I take RedCoach, and I've heard the comments people make about bus travel. And so the first thing I want to do is talk through the people that are going to be on the bus so you'll know what to expect. And then we'll come back and talk about their premium economy bus, the business class bus, and the first class bus, and what sets those apart and which ones that I personally choose when I am traveling. Now, the first thing you'll notice when you get on one of the buses is that it's everyday people. There is nothing special about the people that are there. There's people from their 20s all the way up to their 70s. There's different races, ethnicities. It is people just like me who are trying to get somewhere. I also find that there's a strong number of tourists, because tourists are just more accustomed to taking a bus. International tourists, let me clarify that. If it's an international tourist, they're more accustomed to taking buses and have considered RedCoach as an option to get them to their next destination. Everyone on the bus was always very pleasant. I never had the first issue with anybody that was on the bus. Surprisingly, the biggest issue that I always worry about on any of these, whether it's a train or a bus, people talking on their cell phones. And what I'll say from, the 5 or 6 different bus rides that I did was that people were really respectful here. They either didn't talk on the phone loudly, or they just didn't do it at all. They'd keep the conversations very short, which I certainly appreciate. So what do you do on a bus for 4 hours? I'd say it's about the same thing that you're going to think of doing for a plane. The first thing is, you're probably going to want to bring some food, because if you're going over at dinner time, you're going to want to be able to snack on something. So you have a few people that bring food. The other thing you're going to see is a lot of people with their computers out, like me. So I'm working. This is great time that I can concentrate and dedicate to YouTube. You're gonna have cell phone reception the entire time. So you can play on your phone, you can play on your iPad, you can watch movies, watch YouTube, my favorite thing to do. Whatever it is you wanna do on that device, you're gonna be able to do it. You're also gonna find people reading books. This is another great pastime, something that I'll do when I finally get tired and falling asleep from YouTube. I will bring out a book and read, and that's what a lot of other people choose to do as well. One lady was even knitting beside of me, which I was super fascinated by. And again, it's about a 4-hour journey, so there is a toilet on board and people are going to use it, though a lot of people don't. I think it's just a bus, and it's probably always recommended, please don't use the bus facilities if you don't need to. I personally used it every time. Small bladder because my heart's so big, but I did use the restroom and it was very clean. It was fine. No issues whatsoever there. The next thing that you're probably thinking of if you're considering taking a bus is, but Brandon, South Florida and the traffic, the bus must take forever. You know what? It's not that much worse than some of the other alternatives that are out there. So the bus ride, the full bus ride with the stops is going to take you about 4 hours and 15 minutes to go from Miami Airport all the way up to the RedCoach station in Orlando, which is directly beside of Orlando International Airport. If you are looking at taking a flight, you're going to have to show up early for that flight. The plane ride's going to be about an hour. And what's the chances that it's going to be delayed? So yes, a bus is absolutely going to have traffic. A flight, they have traffic, they have weather, they have all sorts of issues that may cause a delay as well. If you're considering the Brightline, for instance, if you want to pay about $100 per ticket one way on Brightline, you're more than welcome to do that. Brightline, because it's a train, you may think, gosh, Brandon, like that's gonna be quick. It will never be delayed. That could not be farther than from the truth. In South Florida, we have an issue with objects and things and people getting in front of our trains, causing delays. Last time I took the Brightline, it was delayed over an hour because of this exact issue. Now let's talk about the fleet of buses that RedCoach has and the different experiences you can expect. They again have 3 different ones: the premium economy, you've got the business class, and the first class bus that you can sign up for. I've done the premium economy a few times. It's going to be your cheapest option, though I'll say the business and the first class are also not that terribly expensive or that much more of a premium to get on them. All of these buses, the buses that I've been on, have been extremely clean and very well maintained. The premium economy bus is going to be more like your traditional bus. It's going to have around 56 seats on board, and you will have power at all of the outlets. The next bus is going to be the business class bus. This is going to have fewer seats because it gives you plenty of room. I think I could fully extend my leg and not hit the chair in front of me. There's only about 38 seats on the business class bus. It does recline not all the way, but a good bit. So if you want to sleep, you can do that. It's also going to come with power at every seat. You're going to have a footrest, so easy to stay connected, easy to work from. This is probably my go-to experience. If I can find a business class, this is my favorite experience. For the first class bus, this is their creme de la creme, and I have yet to be able to experience this. I do have one coming up that I will be excited to hopefully get to tell you all about, but their first class bus removes even more seats, and it is only 27 seats. So business class 38, first class bus is 27 seats, and these are fully lay flat seats, or reclining seats, I should say. So if you are taking their overnight, they've got a midnight bus that is the first class bus, and you want to sleep the entire way going from Miami to Orlando, you can do that in comfort. It's also going to come with power. It's going to come with a footrest. But more importantly, you're going to be able to lie flat the entire trip and get some good shut-eye for wherever it is you want to go to. Now, RedCoach has a lot of stops or options that it can do. Depending on the bus route that you pick, it'll have different stops. The most of them will all stop at Miami International Airport, which is where I pick it up at, from outside Terminal H at door 20. Super easy to find. You're then going to take that up to Fort Lauderdale International Airport and then have a few stops along the rest areas up and down 95. And then you're going to come up to the Orlando RedCoach station, which is a dedicated station to the buses across the street from Orlando International Airport. So there you go. That is the RedCoach bus experience and what you can expect if you choose to save some money, have a really good experience, and get there in about the same amount of time as you will the alternative options to going from Orlando to Miami. All right, everybody, this is Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser. Hoping to see you on a weekend cruise soon.